blessed with a championship prosperity the likes of which we have never seen, cursed by a past riddled with despair. This is Blursed.
What's up, and welcome back to Blursed, everybody. It's Hayden Cummins and Blake Dodd coming at you. We're going to be talking about some Falcons today. What you think about that, Blake?
I'm not coming to anybody. That's what I think. Don't put words in my mouth.
That's why you're wearing your Falcons shirt, right?
Okay, you got to bring it up
Right away.
Yeah, this you can't. No one can tell. It's red. This is a Falcons shirt. What's up, everybody? Hey, what's up? Hello. We're talking to you the morning of the Falcons' last preseason game, and if you can't tell already, this is a Falcons centric episode. I had my Bijan mustard right before this on my food, so ready to go.
The question is, will the Falcon or Falcant in 2023?
That is the
we'll
big question.
See, I guess.
Can I read you about the mustard story?
Oh,
so
please.
I went to his website, the Bijan mustard, because at first I was like, is this just like a Dijon spin? Like a Dijon, like do a partnership with him? No. Like he owns this mustard.
Oh, he owns this mustard brand? I thought he was just doing like a advertising deal.
No, he owns it. He owns Bijan mustard.
Oh, that changes perspective. He's a businessman.
He's a businessman. Yeah. He's also not only, I don't know, this reminds me of something else. I don't want to lose my train on this. He's also one of the minority investor, or not a minority owner. He's an investor in the there's a cricket league starting. And there's a lot of athlete stars that went into going into it, and he's one of them. So like Micah Parsons, like there's a bunch of stars from the NFL,
like the U.S. Cricket League.
I don't know if it's U.S. or if it's Texas centric. I don't know, but yeah, it's definitely. I think it might be U.S., but it's I have to look it up. Maybe you can look it up on the side real quick.
We talked about it a little bit last week, maybe.
Actually, I can look it up right here. I'm on Twitter, and that's where I saw it.
Major League Cricket.
Not cricket. No, sorry. Did I say cricket? I meant. Oh, I didn't mean to say cricket.
Rugby.
I'm gonna say pickleball.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm getting myself confused. Pickleball, a pickleball league. Yeah.
I still got a bone to pick with pickleball because I injured my back when I played in like March. It took me 3 months to get over that.
I thought people play pickleball so they won't.
That's what I thought. Apparently, it's a huge like reason of people actually having to go to the hospital. It's like I think a lot of because it's like elderly people that are playing or older folks, and then people like me that hurt their back from exercise.
The problem is you go too hard.
I do.
You know what I mean?
Like I blame Kinsey still. I was trying to like quit 3 games before I hurt my back. And then Kinsey was like socializing. She's like, no, just keep playing. I was like, I don't want to. And she just like, she wears the pants, obviously. And I was like, all right, I guess I got to keep playing. So Kinsey can socialize. And then, then the next day I was like, that was a mistake. And I blame you.
I blame you.
Well, we should never let her forget it.
When we have Bijan on the podcast, maybe we can have Kinsey interview him and they can talk about their love for pickleball together. And it's for different reasons.
Loves pickleball.
So here's our mustard story, though. So this is where I got off on a tangent. Back on January 30th of 2002, when Bijan Robinson was born in a hospital by a doctor, 2 things occurred to Bijan instantly upon being born. One, that the world is bright and lights can hurt your eyes when you're never seen them before. And 2, that his purpose in this world would be to score touchdowns. And score touchdowns, Bijan did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is his story. And so he started this in 2022. And like he already did like pre-sales on his week 1 bottle. So like there's a special bottle someone pays $75 for, and it's like his week 1 special edition. But it comes with an autograph. Because of like an autograph. It comes with an autograph of like from Bijan.
Are we talking like grainy mustard, or are we just talking basic?
It's a type. It's a gourmet Dijon mustard. So he's a whole website called the Bijan mustardson.com.
Okay.
And it's a whole mustard shop, mustard story, mustard merch, mustard fun.
I mean, I'll say like I appreciate his
entrepreneurship.
Yeah, his entrepreneurship and his drive. But I will say, if you buy a $75 bottle of Dijon mustard, then I'm judging you.
I'm judging you.
I am, and I will always judge you for doing that.
So there's a rookie bottle that you can buy for $50. And then his normal mustard, you get two for $15.90. That's not too bad. Some gourmet
Although
mustard,
if you
$7.
buy like these special editions and he like ends up being like Barry Sanders or something like that, then you could just keep like a really nasty unopened bottle of Dijon mustard for 50
Someone spent a lot
years.
of money.
Yeah, and you'll sell it for like $1 million.
Yeah, like the week 1 game bottle. So it's my week 1 game bottle, complete with my stats, my autograph, and the date. Only one bottle available. So we did it for each week up to like week 13.
Hope he doesn't like tear an ACL week 1. Hey man, get up, throw some mustard on it. You'll be fine.
Everyone would be like, "Do you want this mustard bottle that for Bijan never played? Was it worth more that way?"
He's giving opponents a lot of fodder though, to like talk shit and like make fun of them.
What's up, mustard boy?
Yeah,
like what do you call him?
Hopefully something more clever than that. Nothing's coming to me at the second.
The mustard boy was as good as I could get. It wasn't good. But speaking of Bijan Mustard, God, dude, he looked good in the preseason game.
Like, he only had like 2 carries, right? 3 carries or something like that.
I think 4 for 20 or something like that. 4 touches for 20 yards. Or
yeah, that sounds right.
I could pull up his actual stats. Let me do that. Let's be good.
One of the runs was for 12 yards.
12 yards, and it was his first one. So it was four carries for 20 yards, and then he had a one-handed catch that he made look easy for 6 yards. So
we're getting on the ball.
Yeah. His first run was exactly what you wanted to see from him because it's exactly what we were missing in the running game last year. Like,
yeah,
or even just in general, we just didn't have anyone that could do that, make magic happen, make 10 people miss, and now you're 12 yards, like out of nothing. Like, because that's what it was. It was a run that should have gone 3 yards, and he made it go 12 because he's Bijan. Like,
yeah, he was quick. It was an exciting run to watch, even though it was short in time, but not a huge run, but it is leading a lot to be.
Yeah, I mean, I thought in the 2 plays you saw enough to show like exactly what you think you're gonna get this season. Like you saw
he's got a little something extra.
That one-handed grab, and then you see the 12-yard run out of nothing. And I'll say too something that was notable, and I took a couple of notes from the preseason game here. One, this was notable to me. Offense played in 11 personnel, 10 of the 19 plays on that first drive. So what's notable to me is we had 19 plays on that first drive. We literally went 90 yards. We went like Desmond Ridder threw for 80 yards, and we ran for, I want to say like 30 on that first drive too, because of all the penalties we got, which was like one of the issues of that drive. But yeah, we got a ton of yards and a ton of possession. We wasted 11 minutes off the clock on that drive, which is like, that's what Arthur wants. Like, he wants long drives, punish the defense, score at the end. I mean, we didn't get to score at the end, but
it's kind of like that's the way you turn a corner as a franchise too. Is like, especially if you don't have an elite quarterback, then like if you run the ball, it's kind of like Tennessee.
And
like,
play good.
That's how they did it.
The Patriots have done it for years. The Patriots have always been like, Tom Brady broke the rule, obviously, because he became so much better than I think they thought he would become. But they ran the ball effectively. They played good defense, and they scored. And then like they scored off turnovers. Like, they did a good job of that too. And like, I think that's what you're kind of seeing. I don't know. I kind of feel like that's kind of the route he's kind of going with this in some way. Bijan obviously differs from that because of Derrick Henry, but I'll just say they played 11 personnel, 10 of the 19 plays, which is more than double of what we played last year. So I don't think Art's showing his full hand. I think he was trying to test Ridder to see like, all right, if you're going to play 3 wide receiver sets, go have fun. Like, let's see what you can do, because typically we play in like a 12 personnel. We typically have 2 tight ends out there. So that was interesting to see. I thought, and they put in all, and Bijan only lined up in the backfield too. So like, that's
11 personnel being 1 tight end, 1 running back, and then the rest are receivers, correct?
Yeah, and 3 wide receivers, I believe. Yeah. So, and 12 personnel is the 2 tight ends.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll start seeing them move around some as like we start seeing Algier on the field at the same time, or CP.
Yeah, well, you did. There was a play with Algier and Bijan both in the backfield. So, I mean, they're going to do that. I mean, they're going to have plays where, Cordell Patterson and Bijan are out wide, and Algier might be in the backfield, and you motion someone. Yeah, I mean, what he can do with the weapons he has is just, I don't know. I think this is my hot take. I'm going to say right now. This is the year that Art Smith becomes like, it doesn't become Kyle Shanahan, but he has that Kyle Shanahan-like year where his offense makes that big jump where people are like, no, Art Smith's an offensive guru.
So
like,
the Kyle Shanahan offensive jump, we were the #1 offense in the league.
I'm not saying we jumped that high. I'm saying Top 10. I think
Top
we
10.
finished top 10. And I think as the year goes on, I think this is going to be the same for the offense and the defense. That number becomes better. So like if you look at week 8 through week 17 or week 18, whatever the end, I think it's going to be a much higher, lower number, like maybe top 5 at that point.
Yeah.
I don't know if we hit that point with Ritter as the quarterback, because obviously Shanahan did that with Matt Ryan. My point is, though, Shanahan consistently has a fluid offense, no matter who his quarterback is. And I think you finally have the pieces to do that. Because, like, if you compare Shanahan's team with the 49ers, he had way better weapons than we did last year as the Falcons. Like, Falcons' weapons last year, you had Cordell Patterson, you have a rookie Algier who started coming on more in the year, and then you had Kyle Pitts who was hurt for the last 8-9 games. So,
Yeah, for sure. And like, there's more than one way to be considered a good offense. You don't necessarily have to be high flying. If you're
yeah,
efficient, and especially if you're
exactly.
focusing on the run game, it means you're not turning the ball over. You're dominating time of possession,
Mm-hmm.
and you're playing good defense.
And you
And
play good defense. Yep.
that's going to be the formula this
And
year.
you have
Like,
creative play calling, like, because I
yeah,
think that's what Shanahan's known for. And like I started watching Quarterback School on YouTube. He's a podcast. He just goes like breakdowns of quarterbacks. He had a great episode on Desmond Ritter from the Bengals game. I mean, honestly, he was raving about Ritter in a lot of ways. He said, obviously, some of the throws he needs to work on touch, but his mechanics, he was saying, are just incredible. It doesn't look like a guy who only played 4 games last year, mechanic wise. So you can
wow.
tell he goes to that Jordan. I think it's the Jordan Palmer school, the quarterback school he goes to, or
Oh yeah.
yeah. And so he
Yeah,
did that. And he
Carson
said you could,
Palmer's brother.
brother, yeah. And he said you could tell he has the mechanics from that. Just like he looks like a robot almost. He's so fluid with it. So, I mean, I'll be honest, watching that and watching the game, I was very impressed with Ritter. I mean, a stat that I don't think a lot of people realize, though, if you extrapolated Ritter's 4 games sample last year and the end of the year, and the amount of like his red zone percentage, the amount of times a drive ended in the red zone,
Mm.
he would lead the entire league in percentage wise if you would over the course of a year. I will
Wow.
say some of it scheduling at the end was a little easier, but if Ritter can continue that, like continue to lead the offense and get to the red zone, I think we're in for a great year. And if he can start converting those red zones into touchdowns, I mean, the sky's the limit.
I mean, he has all the weapons. I mean, last
Dude,
year he
his
didn't have
weapons are
Bijan, but
nuts.
like, if Bijan is what we think he is, or what he's showing himself to be, then defenses are going to have to key on him up and down the field. So
Oh,
especially in the
absolutely.
red zone. So that really should open things up. They're gonna have to stack the box, and then Kyle Pitts should be open for more touchdown. Drake London is a huge body. He should be able to
God, dude.
box out some
Do you watch
guys in
that
the end zone.
Moss? Do you see that highlight of him mossing
No,
the
did he
guy?
moss somebody?
Oh my God. You got to go to the Twitter, like go to our Twitter message, scroll up. Yes.
Drake or Kyle?
Drake London. Dude, it is. So a couple of things real quick. What I loved about this first drive, especially it's August 18th. You have to go above the where you sent Mason Wynn guy's career hit and Pete Alonso threw it away. A couple of things about that drive was that one, Bijan catches a one-handed catch, also makes him breaks that 12-yard run, and it looks crazy. So, like, you see him as highlight. Kyle Pitts makes a one-handed catch also in this drive, cuts up field, has a lot of good route running. I mean, you can tell, you see his potential. And then Drake London mosses a guy on a 20-yard catch on the sideline from a beautiful pass from Desmond Ritter. Like, this is perfect ball placement. And then after that
It's a
play,
good catch. I don't know if it was a Moss.
if you watch the other highlight from it, he's like
Different
over
angle.
mossing him. Yeah,
All
he's
right.
over him.
I always
And he
think of
doesn't
like
take it out
going
of
up
him.
over
Right.
somebody and like
He
making
doesn't
a
do
basket
that.
catch
You're right.
over.
I guess you're right. He doesn't do
But
that as much, but
yeah,
it is a great catch. And I'll say they'll score. I think they score a touchdown on that drive if it's a regular season game. Because what happens after that is the Bengals coach challenges it, but he doesn't. The flag's not thrown on the field until after the play is already snapped. But it's preseason, they blew the play dead. And it would have been, what sucks is it would have been an easy Bijan touchdown. Like he would have just ran right in. He had already had the ball in his hand.
oh man,
Art Smith was pissed. Like he was pissed. And like, how he chews up.
Art's a
breath.
little extra spicy this year with the mustache.
Oh, dude, he
Maybe
is
it's because
extra
he's gotten a pre-order of Bijan's mustard, so he's a little extra spicy.
Yeah, he's got that gourmet
this year
Bijan.
versus last year. Yeah. Uh,
But I think it's a hot take, but I also think I'll stand by this. I do think this is the year that Art starts getting recognition that he's a good coach.
so you
Like
said
that
Kyle made a one-handed catch, and then I mean, did he
Kyle
have
Pitts
any?
one-hand catch, Bijan. Oh, so it's one-hand catch for a first down.
Because he's the big question mark, right? So
he had
we're
a
coming towards the back end of his initial contract with the
yeah.
Falcons. He hasn't broken out yet. Some of it due to injury, some of it due to personnel on the team and who's throwing him the ball. He's kind of got to break out soon if he's going to have any longevity with the Falcons.
I'll say for me, like I think he broke out his rookie year, and I think he just gets shit because last year he had Mariota for 6 weeks and then he got hurt. Like, because to me, 1,000 yards receiving that's a big deal. Like, I know he didn't have the touchdowns; he had one the whole year, but 1,000 yards receiving by tight ends only been done one before that. And I think he has the skill, and I think this year he'll put it all together. I mean, he had one play where he does like it's a mesh route to two receivers in mesh. You're trying to rub off the defender,
Yeah.
and the quarterback school guy was highlighting it because he said no one's done this before. And he said, you're about to see other offenses do this. What Art did. Art then sends Kyle after the mesh instead of going like a post or anything else, just straight in the middle on a drag route. Wide open. He probably gets a touchdown, but on that play, Ritter gets pushed out of the pocket and Ritter picks up 12 yards on a run or something like that. So Ritter made the right play. And I think it was good he did that because he couldn't get the throw off. But if Ritter has no pressure there, Kyle Pitts catches that for a touchdown. Easy touchdown.
I wonder, like, it feels like I don't know if all of the weapons can have like that kind of year. So like, who's it gonna be that doesn't? If the offense is good, it can be multiple pieces of the offense that can be good, but it's not going to be all of them. So is it Drake London that continues his breakout from late last season, or is it Kyle Pitts that comes back on? And it feels like it's going to be down to one of those two guys that's like going to be the A, and one of them's going to be probably the C behind Bijan.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think actually Drake's the A too. I mean, just look at the repertoire they built last year to end the season. Like if you expand, and we talked about it, if you expand in Drake's numbers from those last 4 games, he gets 1,400 receiving yards on the season. Like him and Desmond Ritter definitely have a connection. And then this year, Ritter, he was roommates with Bijan. So like they're definitely going to have a connection too. I think Kyle Pitts is the odd man out. That's not to say I don't think Kyle Pitts still has an incredible year from a tight end perspective. Yeah. But he's not going to have. I don't think he has 1,000 receiving yards this year.
Yeah, there's no way. Like based on like the passing game last season, and like what I expect Art to actually open up for Desmond Ritter, I don't think we're still going to be run heavy. Like probably close to 50% split.
Yes,
that's very low passing percentage in the NFL.
I think you're getting 20 to 25 throws in a game. I think
it's better than last year, with
and
Mariota.
Oh, absolutely. And I think you see why. Like Ritter, I think Ritter's already proven he's going to be. I mean, he's more effective in moving the offense, regardless. It doesn't, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter. He's going to be more effective at that. But I think from a offense perspective, I think you hope Ritter throws 3,000 yards this year. Like what? Like if you're thinking about expectations for Ritter, I was thinking about this last night. 25 touchdowns. Like if he threw 25 touchdowns this year and 3,000 yards, what do you think about that? Like, maybe he has like 5 rushing as well, so it's like 30 total.
That's a successful season, I think. I mean, granted, like his interceptions are in check. Like it's okay to take shots, take chances, but like if you throw 25 and 3,000 yards, then I wouldn't want you to have more than like 15 interceptions.
Yeah, you should be. I think you should be closer to like 11 if that's the case. Like if you're throwing 25, I don't know if he hits 25, but like I think he's going to be between 20 and 30.
Yeah,
and I think if he hit 25, if he has 25, like that's, I mean. If he has 25 touchdowns, I mean I think that shows you.
That's all we need from him because we don't need him to carry the team. Like
absolutely,
we have the running ability and the offensive line run blocking to carry the team, and that's what we have to lean on.
Well, my other question for you is like if he throws 3,000 yards, like I mean that's got to be what Bijan gets 400 to 600. I bet you Cordell Patterson gets 200 or so. You have Jonnu Smith. You have Drake probably gets 1,000, but I'm just like, there's not many yards for Kyle Pitts to have as well, like is the point.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I think he could do it. Now, Desmond Ritter could blow all of our socks off and go out there and throw like 4,000 yards. And you know what I mean? Like, I doubt that happens, but if he did,
I'd be surprised. But yeah, I mean, I could see it varying a lot by week, and hopefully they have a game plan going in. And
absolutely,
if we know especially if Bijan starts breaking out early in the season, then you're going to start seeing teams creep up, and then that'll really open up the deep passing game for Desmond.
I mean, I think I don't know. I was telling you guys earlier, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. Like I'm all in on the Arthur Smith bandwagon right now. The mustache, like it. When the mustache came, I was like, you know what? That's a guy I could root for. I was already soft on him too, compared to you and Aaron. Like I've already been soft on him, but I just been impressed with what he's done with no talent. And I just think this year, I mean, obviously it's a make or break year. And if he messes up, then it's it. But I don't think he does. I think this is where he wins fans over. Like, I think this is the year where Because I think to your point, he's going to game plan every game's on game plan. Like, how are we going to attack this team? How do we beat this team? And he's going that will be the game plan going in, and that's how we'll maximize our skill. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
I
do you want to
agree.
comment on that? Something else I was going to say was I don't think he tipped his hat really to the regular season. He had some creative plays, but I think Art's kind of holding that
Goes-
close to his
Yeah,
chest. Yeah. Honestly, the most concerning part about the whole first drive for the offense was the offensive line. I mean, we had Chris Lundstrom, who just was the least penalized player of the year, like the best right guard in the NFL last year, got penalized twice on that drive. One for one, the Art Smith said was a subjective call, but the other one, he's like, got to clean up. Like, you got to clean up any pre-snap. Like, that can't happen.
yeah,
Um, I don't think that's an issue going forward. I think our offensive line is actually a strength of this team. And honestly, to me, I think Jake Matthews is the most important player on the Falcons this year. His health. If Jake
yeah,
Matthews stays healthy, does left tackle, we're fine. If he gets hurt, I mean, that's our biggest question mark is our tackle depth. You
yeah.
have so right now we have Josh Miles is like the one who's probably going to win the swing tackle position between him, between him, Jalen Mayfield, and Tyler Vrabel. And I think Jalen Mayfield is the guy on the odd way out. Actually, I think Vrabel is actually ahead of
He's
him on the
gonna get
practice
cut.
squad. I think he gets practice squatted. I don't think they cut him completely. I think they'll have a practice squad spot for him, but he seems like the odd one out. But I also think Terry might go sign a guy. Like, I think you might see the Falcons sign or trade for a player right
That's
here.
kind
It
of what
just
I was
makes
wondering too. If we'll go through the first third of the season. If somebody gets hurt on the line, or if somebody's not panning out, or if
yeah.
there's like a glaring weakness, then maybe we do make a trade.
I think it happens sooner than that. I think this is around the time you see trade / those veterans who haven't signed yet get signed. And I think they're gonna go out and just get a veteran tackle who started before, and he'll be our
Yeah,
swing tackle. Just let him ride the bench. Like, he'll get up to speed when he needs to because he doesn't need to play right away anyways.
maybe they're
Um,
eyeing a few guys that like are on the roster bubble too on other teams. Like right at the end of the
Absolutely.
preseason, they're like, well, let's see if this guy gets cut. If he does, then
Yeah.
we're gonna go out and get him, and then he may even be able to slot in as a starter because I
I mean,
mean,
that's a
that's a weakness on our line for sure.
absolutely. I think that's a great line or a great take. I think starting wise, I think we're fine. You saw Matthew Bergeron. He started our rookie at left guard. I think he looked excellent. He had a
Yeah,
mishap on a passing play, but he's a rookie. It's going to happen. He moved positions, but man, he's a people mover out there. And him next to Jake looked good. I think our starters are fine. But to your point, Terry's always a deals guy. Like, he's hunted the CFL. That's how we got D. Alford, who will probably start slot cornerback for us this year, and he's probably gonna be our punt returner this year.
dang.
He played for us last year and got time only because Casey Hayward got hurt, but that's someone who will play meaningful minutes for us that we got off the CFL last year. And Terry, like, to your point, he'll be looking at who gets cut, and we'll look for the whatever signing he might be able to get there. Um, Clark Phillips played well. Came in late. That our rookie cornerback out of Utah came in kind of late. He's going to be the backup to D. Alford. So I don't think Clark Phillips starts ever this year. Maybe because of injury he will.
Yeah.
But how great is that to have that much depth where a guy like Clark Phillips, who I believe will be a starter next year and believe that
Yeah.
he'll be an impactful player for this team for years to come. Like, how awesome is that he is depth this year?
Yeah,
Like,
he'll get to
it's just
develop
such an
for a year.
improvement.
He'll get put in there in some different packages, I'm sure. But
Yes, yeah, he'll
yeah,
play. But like,
um,
that's such an improvement from last year's team. Like, last year he'd been forced to start. It's like, nah, man, we need you out there. Like,
yeah, and you've started hitting on it
so
too. Like the defense is going to play a huge role this season, and
absolutely.
there's people that are started to talk about them too in the national media, which is a
Hmm.
little bit exciting as a Falcons fan and somebody that drafted the Falcons defense super late in fantasy.
Yeah,
But
dude, I think it's a good
they just
pick.
have a little bit of oomph to them, and sometimes a new defensive coordinator can bring in a little bit of energy as well as like new ideas and development of some of these
Yeah, and I think
players that
that
haven't come along all the way yet. So
absolutely.
maybe that's where we get an edge and turn the corner.
Yeah, I mean, obviously injuries will play a part in this too, but I think the new coordinator coming in and just the talent you added, like you add David Onyemata, Caden Ellis, Jesse Bates, Akuda, you bring in Micah Hyde, you bring in
Calais
Calais
Campbell.
Campbell, like,
Yeah.
yeah, all these names, Bud Dupree, like, obviously some of these guys are like maybe a little past their prime or they're like winning career, but they're all so much more serviceable than anyone we had last year. Like,
There's
the thing like
value there too, and as far as developing younger
leadership,
players,
yeah,
you
exactly.
would
It's
hope.
the culture they build too. Like, you brought in winners. You brought in players who've played on winning teams or have been like best players on their team before or brought the fire for them. Like Bud Dupree led the Steelers with sacks one year. Like, I mean, these are good players. And the minutes they will play for our team is like the perfect amount. They won't be get asked to like have to start like play all these minutes. They'll come in on third down. They'll come in on obvious passing plays. That's the nice part. We have so much depth
Yeah,
now.
it'll
A
be
lot
more
of these
rotational.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I think they're really building a system that. I mean, really, if we talk about culture, I think they're building a winning culture by building a full team. This is the most depth we've had since that Super Bowl run. Like, I'm being honest. Like, Falcons have not been known. Even that too. Like, if you think about the transition between Mike Smith, our coach before Dan Quinn, and Dan Quinn inherited a lot of Mike Smith's roster. Like, and it's just that coaching change kind of took them to the Super Bowl a year later. Like, Art Smith rebuilt this roster. Like, it's new. Like, there's some players from the past, like Jake Matthews, but the players that made it are like cornerstone players who, like, it's like two. It's like basically
Yeah.
Jake Matthews and Grady Jarrett, and maybe one. I might be slipping another
Yeah,
Terrell,
there's
but
not that many remaining,
not
it seems.
many. So I just think you're finally starting to see the picture. It's kind of like Kirby Smart when he came to Georgia. You're starting to see his guys. He has all his guys now, and you're going to
Yep.
see it pay dividends. Like, I think, like, I thought this was insulting. Anthony, shout out Charette, he linked this in the Discord. It was ESPN. They said their ceiling for the Atlanta Falcons this year is 11-6, and their floor is 5-12. That's ESPN's take. How is the floor less wins than the year before when the year before's team was so much worse
That's
talent?
like the softest fucking take ever, too. It's like apparently they listed everybody as like around that level, which is like make a I know they let a lot of people go recently, but I don't know, have some balls and make a take that's like worth having. Not just be like, oh, you know what? Somebody could go 17-0, the other team could go 0-17. What do you know? We'll see what happens.
Well, that's
in
basically
between.
what it is.
Like,
Like,
of
but
course, that's like
also,
the only option. Is like there has to be somewhere in that range. That's all you can do.
like, give a good range at least. Like
Yeah.
to me, I send this back, and maybe you could challenge this, but I said the floor is probably 7-10, like only based on the last couple of years. Like, if you Arthur Smith's gone 7-10 the last 2 years, I think the floor personally is higher than that. But if you can make an argument for why 7-10 could be the floor, just based on the history of the team, I
Sure.
think personally we're a 9-win team floor. Like, but injuries, if you're gonna include injuries, 7-10. But I said ceiling's 14-3. Like, if you look at the schedule,
Shit.
but that's
Let's.
ceiling. Ceiling is what it's
It's
supposed
been
to
a
be the
while since we've
max.
stepped through. You want to do that again, and
Yeah,
we
let's
can
do
kind of be
it.
like, well, what do we think here? All
But
right.
like, honestly though, like, if your ceiling's supposed to be the best your team can be, for why not shoot for it all?
I don't
So
know if I'll agree yet.
okay, that's fine.
But
You want me to mark stuff
let's
down?
let's go through here. All right, so we got the Panthers Falcons opening weekend.
I want a pen because I want to keep track of what
pen and
we
paper
say.
guy.
Yeah, I am a pen and paper
Oh
guy.
boy, we're putting it. Yeah,
Put it in writing here.
put it in
All
writing.
right. So we got Carolina week 1, which is a home game for Atlanta. I
Yep.
think we beat the doors off them, honestly.
Probably should with what's been coming out of camp. They've had a couple injuries.
What do you think, man?
Yeah, I'd say the Falcons should win that game. We got
Okay.
going against Bryce Young.
Yeah, and I really do think that's a game that Desmond Ritter shows that he's not. What I love this for him, this first matchup. Like, honestly, Bryce Young can go out there and ball out. Maybe I don't think it's going to happen, but I think Desmond Ritter goes out there and shows like, no, I'm year 2. I know what it takes to win a football game, and I think the other one cracks a little bit under pressure. All right, week 2, the Packers are coming to Atlanta.
That should be a win.
I think so too. I will say this about the Packers: I'm pretty impressed with Bryce Love so far through the preseason. He's looked like any other Packers quarterback after the next one goes. Like, I know it's preseason, but he's playing against first teams out there, and he just has the touch. Like, he throws a pretty pass.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it carries over.
I think this is one of those. All right, so a couple of things before we continue. I think this is one of those games that Falcons could lose early because like I said earlier, I think we finish a top 10 offense. I think we finish a top 16 defense. We may not finish there in the aggregate for the whole season, but I think when you look at the last 8 weeks, who are the best teams, I think Falcons will be in the top 10, top 16 at that point. So to my point, a little bit here is we may lose a couple games early in the season that I think we could have won later, just because Desmond Ritter is about to play his 5th and 6th game. The defense is coming under a new coach. It's just a bunch of new stuff, a lot of new things. So
you're thinking they'll come on later in the year?
Yes, I just think they'll get better as the year goes on. So to that point, I think I think talent wise, we should beat the Packers. I could see the Packers being a close game though that we might lose. Like I wouldn't be surprised, is what I'm trying to say here.
I'll
Um,
list them as a win, but only because of the next two games that are coming up
well,
here.
I'll put them as a win as well though. Lions at the Lions. I think this is another close game.
Yeah,
I think the Lions win this game in Detroit.
I'll call it a loss as well.
Yeah.
They've really developed that team
They're a
a
step ahead
long
of
way.
us.
Yeah,
Like,
they
look at the
are.
process. They're one step ahead of us. So, like, we're what they were last year. And I think we might have a more successful season than they did last year, but that's kind of where we're at
Yeah,
in the stepping stone.
Goff is
Um,
underrated as well, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if the Sun God can stay healthy, I mean, the sky's the limit for
Yeah,
them. So, Falcons Jags next week in Jacksonville. This is another game I think will be close. I think these are two teams on the come up. I think we can win it, but I think we lose the game
yeah.
because early in the season they're a step ahead of us, I think, as well.
So 4 weeks we're looking at 2-2.
2-2, yeah. Week 5 is where we get back on track. We play the Texans. This is at home. I think we wipe the floor with them. We should, yeah.
Dubs.
W. Week after that, we go and face or they come to us, the Commanders. I think we beat them too. I
Should
think
be a
they're
win.
actually in a similar spot to us. Sam Howell, second year quarterback, just like Desmond Ritter. Their team, talent wise, they did a little bit better. They beat us last year. I think we're around the same stepping stone, but I think we're the better team at this point.
Yeah, and
I
at
think
home
they were
as well.
I think they were ahead of us last year. Buccaneers next at Tampa. I think we beat them. I think Buccaneers are the team we actually beat twice in our division. I think
Agreed.
they've had our number recently, and I think it's our time to have their number. They're
They're
just
depleted. Baker Mayfield
Yes.
was named the starting quarterback, and that's not a guy that should be beating you at any point in the season.
No. Now I think this next game is a hard game. It is away. It's against the Titans. I think this is hard because everyone wants to say, well, they're close to rebuilding. If you look at Tannehill's numbers, he's thrown over 17 touchdowns like the last 5 seasons with like with like a 70% completion percentage almost. It's in the high 60s. Like you get the point. He's been good.
Yeah,
He only played 12 games last year and still
They
threw
struggled.
17 touchdowns.
they struggled
And
last year.
yes, and they got Hopkins now. They went out and got Hopkins, so I think they're trying to make a run. I think we can win this game,
I think so
but
too.
I wouldn't be surprised if we lost. So I actually am going to say we lose this game.
I think it should be a win.
Okay, that's fine. I think we might differ in the next one. Next game, Vikings come to town November 5th. I think we beat the Vikings. I think
Yeah.
you do too. Okay, I
No,
think
no,
the
no.
Vikings.
I was
You're gonna say
agreeing.
loss. Okay.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
we're just flipped here.
So I think Vikings are similar to the Titans, but I think they overperformed last year. Personally, like if you look at their point differential,
Yeah.
they actually finished with a negative point differential as a team. They went 14
how
and
many
3 or like
how many
13 and
wins
4.
did they have? That was like one possession. It was like an incredible amount.
It's incredible. Yeah. So I think they flip flop. Don't get me wrong. I think their offense is going to be super talented. I just think their defense can't stop us more than our defense can stop them when we play them.
That's the name of the game, eh?
Yeah. And that's what I'm hoping for out of Desmond Ritter at November 5th. November 12th, we play the Cardinals in Arizona. I think we
Should be a win.
them. Even if Kyler's back, I think we win.
They've been a catastrophe for the last couple of years, anyways.
Absolutely. Then Saints come to town. It's our first matchup against them. I actually think we beat the Saints when they come to town.
Agreed.
It could be one of those though where we lose this one and win the next one against them. So I'm going to give that the caveat there. But Jets are the week after that. We actually go to New York to play.
Yeah.
See, I was talking to Frank, so shout out Clem Jones. He had a great point on we had a debate about this. The Falcons, he was admitting, match up well against the Jets. If you look at what the Jets do good, they have an elite pass rush, but their rush defense is not great. Falcons elite rushing team. The question is, can our secondary contain Aaron Rodgers? Like that's going to be I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's closer than people think it will be right now, but I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to give the Jets the win. But this is one where I think could go either way. But my point is on some of these, like the Titans game where you said win, I said loss. And then like this game's another one where I'm like, they could maybe win though. And same with Jags and Lions too. They can maybe win those games.
I think that lends itself to the scheduling too, because if it's a team like the Chiefs or if it's the Bengals, which funnily enough, we beat last year.
Don't forget
but
it.
I think you see those teams and you're like, okay, that's like a probable loss. Yeah, but like nothing's out of the realm of possibility.
No, not at all.
With our schedule.
Especially if we're as good as we are expecting us to be too. Like with our expectations of our offense and defense. All right, so the week after the Jets, we play the Bucs again. I'm gonna say win. I think we beat them twice this year.
It
If we
should
don't,
be.
something has to happen. That's just a major
Well, I
misfortune.
think
Or
it's important too that we dominate in our division. If we dominate our division, we're locked in as a playoff team. No,
absolutely,
regardless of what happens outside the division.
absolutely.
And those are all
Uh,
winnable games.
so next Panthers, in Charlotte.
Should be a win. They don't
You're
have
gonna
the
say
talent.
win?
Yeah, they don't. I don't think
Yeah.
the Panthers have the talent in
So
house.
the thing is, like, typically, I feel like even when we're our best, we lose 2 games against our divisions, and it's either we're going to lose this one or the game before this to the Bucks. So I'm actually going to say we lose this one. Colts win.
Yeah, should be
Bears.
at the Bears on December 31st. I'll say that one's a loss.
I'll say a win. And last but not least, the Saints. I'll say a loss. And we may win that one and lose the other one, but
I'll say a win versus Saints. I don't care.
wait. So you think we sweep our division?
Yeah.
Oh my
I'm
god.
gonna regret that. But we match up well with every other team in the division, and they're all rebuilding. Like we're ahead.
Yeah.
Like you said, we're ahead of them in the rebuild. There's no reason we should lose.
The Saints are the only ones that we're not ahead of because they've refused to rebuild. They refuse to rebuild. So I want you to know, you just projected us to go 12-5.
All right, they should do it.
I'm projecting 11-6. I'm projecting 11-6, and this is me tempering my expectations because honestly, I said the ceiling is 14-3. Can you see that now? You could see us going forward. Like there's a world where we go 14-3.
I think it's unlikely, like 5% chance maybe. But yeah. I mean, I see what you're getting at. We have a lot of depth now, even at quarterback with Heineke.
Yeah, like if we get an injury there, I still feel like Heineke's the thing about Ritter is he's not going to be some star this year. So like I think Ritter can progress to be a top 12 quarterback in the league, like one of those that you can depend on. Top 16, like a top half quarterback in the league for sure.
Oh yeah,
like
I mean,
Kirk Cousins. Like
yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like he's never going to be the best quarterback in the NFL,
right.
But like he's put himself in a spot where he can lead a team.
Absolutely. Yes. So I think if he can become a Kirk Cousins, then I mean we're solid. Now if that doesn't happen this year, like we're back at the drawing board a little bit. But I still think even if he's not that great this year, I still think we're winning 10 games this year. Like I say we go 11-6. You said 12-5, and I'm like even 11-6. I could have probably gone like 13-4. I could have turned like 2 of those losses into wins.
Yeah,
pretty easily.
At the very least, we have to make the playoffs, and there's no doubt that we should win the division.
Yeah. So Aaron, I want to share Aaron's opinion was that we'll go 9-8. He did not tell me his win-loss, like his where. He said 9-8 though, so that's what he thinks is going to happen. So we have 11-6, 12-5, 9-8. I'm hoping you're right. I'm hoping we're all wrong. I hope we go like 13-4. Like I'm hoping for the sky's the limit. I don't think that will happen. And I think we say this all the time on our show. Expectations are everything. Wherever you set your expectations for the year dictates how you feel about the success or the not success of a season. So if we're setting our expectations right here at 11-6, 12-5, like we better win 11 games. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing about higher expectations.
Well, it is such an easy schedule too. So if we drop the ball and we go 500, or if we don't make the playoffs, then like we have to rethink things.
Yeah,
because the roster's there now, and we can't use that as an excuse anymore.
Yeah, I mean
and if there's developmental issues with Ritter and he's not far enough along, that's also an art for going with Mariota last year when we didn't need to.
We didn't need to, right? Yeah, I mean, I still say this today though. Buccaneers screwed us last year by not just winning the division earlier. Like I know, I know what Art was trying to do. I still agree with you. We should switch quarterbacks, but I see his logic was like, well, dude, we're right here. We can almost win the division.
There's just there's no selling me that Mariota was going to lead to like a better.
Yeah. Maybe Art was trying to salvage relationship, dude. Because did you watch the quarterback?
Yeah, he just dipped out of town. Like
just left.
Honestly, it didn't. I think maybe he thought it would make him look better when that came out. No, it made him look pretty bad.
Looked worse. Looked worse. Yeah. And he's struggling right now with the Eagles. There's like Eagles posts talking about how will he actually be the third quarterback for their team.
No, dude.
So,
he shouldn't be in the league.
Yeah,
he's not good enough. There's no way.
He's not good.
There's
dude, Logan Woodside, our third string quarterback, has looked better than Mariota did last year. I know he's playing against other second and third string, but it's the best third string quarterback we've ever had for Falcons. Like since
I'd rather have Bijan back there. than
Oh,
Mariota
absolutely.
again.
Yeah, I agree with that. Um, I don't know if the starters are playing tomorrow or tonight or listening to
That's
this.
good.
I
I
don't
was going to
know.
ask you about that.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think teams
indifferent.
vary on what they do because we have a week gap in
We
between. Like,
do. And so if the Steelers start their starters, I think the Falcons start theirs. Like it's only one of those things. No one wants to start their starters without the other team starting theirs.
they
Like there's no
practice together leading up to the game, right? Or no?
sometimes no, I don't think we have. I think
Okay.
we did joint practices with Miami before that game. So
Okay.
like it just depends on who you're partnered with during that. But yes, you do go against your practice
I
partner.
wouldn't mind some of our guys getting some more snaps, especially
Oh, me
like
too.
I don't know. Now that we're a couple weeks away, like you have a week built-in break, so
I
you can
mean,
heal up a little.
the hard part about it is like if you do play them and someone gets hurt, it's like why the hell did you play them? But if you don't play them and then they come out week one soft, you're like why didn't you play them? So like
Yeah,
it's like that age
I'd
old
rather I'd
thing.
rather be aggressive, I think, at this point. We're not like, I don't know if we're predicted to win the division or like
Yeah.
I don't know like where everybody else stands on
Ah,
that, but like we're an up and coming team. We don't need to like cater to these players like they're all veterans. Like there's a lot of people on our team that have a lot to prove. So, I'd like them to come out and be ready
me
week
too.
1.
I especially the offense. I would really like to see both the offense and defense get one drive. Just one. Just give us one again. Like
Yeah.
I especially if we see what we saw last
Seesaw.
week. Like that first drive was awesome. I will say it ended in a interception from Ritter, but if you watch the play, Scotty Miller should have had it, hit him in the hands, tip ball goes up. Two, the pass wasn't exactly where Ritter wanted it to go, and three, it should have been passing interference. And like typically you say that and you're like, oh, blah blah blah. The guy was on him before he even had the ball.
Yeah.
Art gave that ref an earful too. um, but
Well,
something else
maybe
too.
that means that Art knows like what the stakes are for him this year.
He does.
It's go time for sure.
It is absolutely. It is go time. Something I'll say too this year, real quick, is that Igwebike, the guy we got from Seattle and the Lions, he's going to.
Oh
I
yeah.
running back. He's a safety converted into running back, and I think he's going to become our fourth running back. Dude, he's looked so good. Like
Wow.
our art is just like Shanahan, also in the sense that any running back in his system is just going to look good. Like he can just get the most out of them. Like except for what's his face, the guy that came from Carolina. That guy was so bad. I can't remember his name, the running back anymore.
Mike Davis?
Mike Davis,
Yeah.
yes, dude, he looks so bad. But um, like Shanahan obviously does more when he has a Christian McCaffrey or Devontae Freeman, but he can make the most out of the little.
Yeah, for sure. Um well shoot. Let's see. We're about
What would
45 minutes in. You want to talk a little Bulldogs here? They
um
we officially announced that Carson Beck was named
starting
the starter
baby?
and quarterback, which, I think we all knew that if we watched him play at all, that was going to happen. And he's starting to get some national attention now, too. People are predicting him to be a first round pick already
Yeah,
in
I
next
saw
year's
that.
draft, which what I've seen from him, like he's a pocket passer and he's got good zip
Was
and good
poised.
accuracy. He's a tall guy. He's built for the
Yeah.
NFL, which, it's not holding step back really, but I
Two
mean,
Sessions look good in preseason.
yeah, so I mean, there's no reason to think he won't. And like, I guess Caleb Williams has like apparently said he might transfer after this year and play another year in college if he doesn't like have leverage as where he
It,
wants to be drafted, which is
yes. It's
super interesting because like you haven't really seen anybody do that since like Eli Manning. Um,
who would he be avoiding? Like who's
that's a good question. Well,
NFL?
we need to see like what the predictions are and then like where he might land. Who's the worst teams?
Like the Raiders could be
I feel like the
bad.
Raiders would be a good landing spot though.
Yeah, it
Although
wouldn't be
it may be
bad.
a rebuild if
Maybe the
Josh
Browns, like
McDaniels has a
if
bad year.
Deshaun Watson doesn't work out, maybe the
I would, yeah,
Browns.
I would do that for the
The Cardinal.
Browns.
What about the Cardinals though? Like the
Yeah,
Cardinals maybe down with Kyler
well,
Murray.
yeah, they've proven they can't develop a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, if the Rams have a nightmare season, maybe they go that route. I don't know.
Yeah,
Oh, the Buccaneers.
yeah, it's interesting to
See, the
see.
Buccaneers
Like,
have good weapons is the thing. Like that's the one thing I'm a little nervous about them. Like if Baker Mayfield has a good game, they could win a game or two only because they still have Mike Evans, Rashad White, Chris
Chris Godwin.
Godwin,
Yep.
Kate Otton's an underrated tight end. Like they have a decent offensive lineup.
Yeah, yeah. I
So
mean, it's fair. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of interesting that he was. I guess I don't know if his representation or whatever was kind of like leaking some of that already,
Yeah, I
like
saw
getting
that.
ahead
I
of
saw
it.
that.
So
Yeah. I
no,
mean,
but I do. You know, we said it last week. We expect Carson to be in the Heisman conversation just because of the offense continuing to develop. We have the same
yeah,
scheme as prior years, just under a different OC.
yeah, Brock
Kind of,
Bowers.
you know, we do. I expect things to kind of pick up. Also of note, Branson Robinson ruptured a tendon or something like that. I saw
Oh
that come
God.
across today. So
That's
we'll,
not good because our running back room's already been a little bit of a question mark. Not because they can't do it, just because we have a lot of
yeah,
new
we
guys.
always have somebody that's going to come along and be good.
Right.
So I'm not too worried about somebody
I'm
stepping
trying to
up.
find.
But that was the he had looked really good on G Day and in a little bit last year when we saw him. So it'll be another year probably until we see him. So he'll probably get a medical red shirt. So,
Yeah,
but he'll just fall into the mix of guys that
just a bunch
it's
of
tough
studs, dude.
luck,
You
man.
see, we had 10 players on the first team off our first team SEC.
Oh, like
10 of 22.
preseason.
Yeah,
Wow,
preseason first team SEC. We had 10 of the 22 players.
dang.
So, and then we had like 8 second team or something like that. Or
It sucks. Like, I mean, I wish we had like some real challenging games here at the beginning of the season to actually
to see,
see
like
like what we're
Oregon
gonna do.
last year.
Yeah, that was like okay.
Oh,
We shouldn't
yeah.
lose a
Welcome to
game.
the show. Yeah,
Which, like, based on the schedule, we shouldn't lose a game. We should definitely make the playoff again.
it's
But
college football
it'll
though.
come down into the SEC championship probably. But
Yeah.
yeah, like there's a couple of games we could lose: South Carolina, Tennessee, Ole Miss,
Yeah, if we
whatever.
go
So
undefeated though until the SEC championship, we still make the playoff though, right?
usually that's the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been the case the last few years. So uh, it'd be hard for us to miss out on that, and then you get another opportunity. So, we're ramping up for another good year, but it's a little bit of a letdown, like facing Ball State right out of the gate instead of somebody challenging.
Oh yeah. Who are you most concerned about this year, like to compete
Schedule?
for a championship? No, not on the schedule. I'm saying
Oh,
like playoff.
hmm. No, that's a good question. I don't know that I watch enough, like all around college
Yeah.
football to have a great guess. Ohio State's always good, and
Yeah.
like consistent.
I'll be curious what they do with a new quarterback.
And they
I,
were a field goal away from beating us
yeah.
last year in the playoff, even though we played bad. So
Yeah.
they have the talent pool. It never feels like Michigan. They can't ever
See,
put it
Michigan,
together, but it also
but
feels like they have a different talent pool than Ohio State even.
they
Like
do.
like
Yeah.
what they're capable of as a squad. Like they might beat them every few years, but it doesn't feel like I don't know from even a size perspective that it's equivalent.
But I'll tell you though, for me personally, the teams I'm worried about would be whoever makes it out between Alabama and LSU. Like, because
Sure.
I think those are the two best teams in the West. And then for me, it is Michigan. Michigan's my dark horse this year, just because they made it to the playoff last year. They lost in a way they did not want to TCU after upsetting Ohio State in the big, like in
Yeah.
the Buckeye Stadium. And like, I don't know. I just think this is if what's his name? Well, I can't think of Harbaugh. If he's gonna put it all together, like this is the year.
What's
Like
he
I don't
get? What
know.
did he get suspended for?
I don't know. He's spent for 3 games though. It was gonna be four,
Yeah.
now it's 3.
I was kind of curious about that. I was like,
I
what?
think they self-sanctioned it too. Like they did it themselves before, self-imposing. Yeah,
Jeez.
I can read it real quick.
I don't even know what. Like, it's hard to get
Oh,
suspended
I
these
don't know why.
days. Maybe they haven't released it yet. It's a secret.
Stemming from alleged violations during the COVID-19 dead period. So recruiting
Ah,
during the dead period.
gotcha. He
That's
just
how I got that
can't
edge,
turn it
man. Can't
off, man.
stop. Can't turn it off, man.
What else is going on?
Man, the
Braves.
Braves, dude. They've looked, their pitching's back, the
Yep.
bullpen's back, the hitting's back. I mean, it just looks like a team that's destined for great things.
I mean, it's a full team. Ozzy's on the IL still. Vaughn's been stepping in a little bit, and Nicky Lopez as well. Eddie Rosario. He was the NL Player of the Week last week. He's been going off.
And I picked him up on my
Um,
fantasy team. And he brought me a dub last week.
nice. Yeah. So it just keeps rolling on for the Braves. It's not much to say other than that.
You can say this too. There's a chance that there's a small chance that the Mets can make the playoffs and the Astros can't, which would be so funny because Verlander got traded from the Mets to the.
I wouldn't like that because I am somewhat dreading if we have a rematch versus the Phillies in the playoffs, or like because last year I talked a lot of shit about how we should win, and it did not pan out that way.
Still. I mean, I still think we're the favorites, even if the Mets made it. But it just shows you like the National League's just a little weaker in that second wild card spot than the American League is, because you're talking about a team with 72 wins right now, maybe not making the playoffs because the team behind them has 71 wins. And a team ahead of them has 76 wins.
Like the Mariners have really been coming on too, so there might be 3 teams in that division that make the playoffs, which would be interesting. And then the AL East
teams in the AL East.
Yeah, they've been strong as well. So
so
definitely seems a lot deeper. The Central, not so much in the AL.
No, Twins are 3 games above 500, and that's as good as it gets there.
Yeah, so. or the NL really. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, no. Remember when we thought the Cardinals would be the best team in the NL Central?
Oof, man.
And they're 56 and 72.
They've completely collapsed. It's insane.
That's what happens when you don't actually have real starting pitching. Like,
I mean, you gotta. I don't. Usually they build it up the right way. I wouldn't expect them to be like a long-term rebuild. You don't expect a franchise like that to be in the cellar for too long. So it might be 2 years, and then they'll be back in the conversation.
Absolutely.
But
I agree with that.
Yeah, they got to get rid of Marmol, their manager. He's awful.
He's bad, man. It's bad.
Nobody likes him. Although it is hilarious that Chip Carey's broadcasting there, and they're so bad now.
Oh, and the Braves are. It makes me happy, dude. I don't even miss them either. I think
our
new guy is so much better.
Brandon Gowton's great.
Brandon Gowton. I didn't know what we were missing out on.
Oh my, yeah, I didn't know either. Jeez,
it is a different world. Yeah. Also, one last thing. This is kind of a fun fact. Arthur Blank spending money again. TGL, ATL. So the Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy Pro Golf League they're making, which is like it's gonna be different than normal golf a little bit. Yeah. I'm not sure. It's like a team thing. There's gonna be an Atlanta team.
Oh, interesting.
Arthur Blank invested, so there's gonna be a team that plays in Atlanta.
That's interesting.
So, yeah, I'm not.
It's more like competition based, I think, like chip in from this spot or something like that.
I'm
not like traditional golf.
Right. So, I don't know if we're going to be like super following next year, but maybe if it's fun to watch, I'd like to see.
I'm not going to watch it. I'm guaranteed not to watch it.
I like golf. So, Ricky Fowler
is on our team?
Maybe. Wait. I love Ricky Fowler.
That's a name I know.
Let's see.
He's never won a major though, I don't think.
Yeah, it's probably one of the best to ever win a. I don't know. I saw Ricky Fowler in that cutscene right there, that little trailer. So maybe.
Or maybe get like Bubba Watson, man.
Oh, dude, that makes way too much sense.
Yeah, I didn't think we talk about golf today. But
yeah.
Now I'm about to fall asleep.
I know, me too. I will say, everyone, if you're watching the Falcons tonight, what you should be paying attention for are position battles. There's probably about 6 positions open to make those last 6 spots on the 53-man roster. And then other guys of the 90 are playing for those practice squad spots because you only get, I think, 14 or something like that, practice squad spots. So that's really what's going to be competing for tomorrow night. All of this, I would say most of the starters are filled. You're really just playing for the second, third string spots. And I think DeMarco Hellams, our 7th round pick out of Alabama, I think he has proven that he will make the team. He's had an interception in both games so far.
Wow.
He's made big hits. He's just made plays. He's on the starters for special teams, which is typically a sign if you're a starter on special teams that you're going to make the roster.
If the offense is out there, I'm gonna tune in. But
yeah, I don't blame you. I'm gonna watch it just because I love the Falcons, and they're actually good this year. So
hey,
gotta take it, soak it up. Yeah, gotta soak it up.
You gotta tell the rest of us what happens.
Exactly, because y'all won't listen. That's why you listen to Blursed stuff. So you don't have to listen.
There you go.
I'll tell you what matters. So, anyways, that's all from me.
All right, that's it. Later.
Peace out, everybody.
Before you go, if you enjoyed our episode, Please subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, and share with your friends. If you'd like to see these mugs, all of our video podcasts are now available on YouTube, where you can like, comment, and subscribe. For more content, follow at Blursed Sports on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. You can also follow us individually at Blursed Blake, at Blursed Hayden, and at @A_Kais. If you're interested in chatting with us directly, join our new Discord community by typing discord.io/BlursedSports into your browser. As always, a huge shout out to our music man, Oh No, for keeping the vibe right and laying down straight slappers every week. You can find his information in the show notes. Thanks again so much for listening, and see you next week.